from his studios in New York, it's time for Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Here's your host, Dan Tortora.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, live for you Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. And I appreciate you all tuning in. Once the show goes live, you can also hear us in the archives on Podbean, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Player FM, and so much more, as well as right here on MixLR, where the show will automatically archive after going live. So whether you're listening to us live or on the archive, thank you so much for tuning into it, and thank you for your support in the show that truly brings you faith, family, and so much more. And in this conversation, all of that plus football, the man is on the broadcast here with me right now is Steve Ishmael. Steve Ishmael and I have spoken for, I want to say this is year number 6, it's got to be. You know, we talked through his recruitment when he was down in Florida. We spoke about, you know, whether or not he was coming to Syracuse and the different offers and his commitment and whatnot, and ultimately signing. And we spoke throughout his career at Syracuse, and now he's with the Indianapolis Colts working to get a job. And, you know, I think the biggest thing in introducing him in is I'm not going to introduce him as an NFL player or a former Syracuse player. I'm going to introduce him as something he said he was to me before he even came to Syracuse, which is a brother. So, to my family, welcome back to the show, Steve. How we doing?
I'm good, man. Good to be back on the show, DT, man. You know, I haven't talked to you in a long time, but good to be back. Yeah,
man, and just, you know, kind of share with me. I mean, you and I spoke all the way up to you finishing up at Syracuse, and, you know, there's been a little bit of time in between then and now. So what's been going on in life? Tell me about, you know, from the end of your time at Syracuse to where you are right now. Just speak with everybody about your journey so far.
Man, honestly, my journey has been a roller coaster, man. You know, the highs, the lows. You know, after the season with Syracuse, I went straight into working out at Pete Bomberito's. You know, getting right for the pro day. And, you know, it's just been working ever since. You know, after the season with Syracuse, I haven't really got a break, but. You know, especially with us, you know, being with the coach and how far we got in the playoffs, you know, I didn't get a chance to go back home until, I want to say February. So it's just been me working ever since, man. You know, now I'm back with them now, just working. Just got done with OTAs and just been working.
And so for you, you know, you had an opportunity to be a part of this Colts franchise last season as you were coming into the NFL for the first time. What were your takeaways? You know, bring me into your relationship with the Colts, how it all got started. I mean, let's kind of start there, how everything got started with the Colts, you know, what the conversation was like and how they originally brought you in.
Well, it started with Morocco Brown. He was the scout coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. You know, he took me out to eat. I was talking to him. He was telling me, you know, just being bluntly honest with a lot of things, and I felt like he was real genuine and, you know, and truthful. You know, and during the draft process, he was like the only person that was really texting me, you know, telling me to keep my head up, you know, things gonna happen, this, that, you know, just telling me stuff. And I felt like I had a real genuine connection with him, and, you know, it was cool, man, you know. And after the draft process, he called me, he was like, man, I really want you to be a coach. You know, and I decided to join the team ever since then. So it's been pretty cool, man. It's been pretty cool process, man. That's how I ended up with the coach, though.
So you go through the draft and you know, you hope you get that opportunity to hear your name called, and ultimately, instead of, you know, that happening in the draft, you come out as an undrafted free agent and you get that phone call. Just bring me through, you know, kind of maybe the feelings and the ups and downs and around the corners of the draft, you know, not hearing your name and then, you know, getting that conversation and getting that phone call. Just what was going through your mind and what was going through your heart as you know, kind of had the ebb and flow of watching the draft and waiting and then ultimately getting that phone call from the Colts?
To be honest, man, it was tough. It was tough, you know, having, you know, just being in the position that I was in, you know, accomplishing the things that I accomplished. You know, it was pretty tough, man, you know, just watching, you know, your name not being called. You know, it was, but I felt like it was most definitely a pain that I had to go through. You know, I felt like I've grown from it. You know, I learned so much, became more mature, grew as a man. You know, so, but after the draft, when I got the call, it was sort of a bittersweet feeling, but it was a blessing at the end of the day. But it was cool, man, just to get that call from Morocco. Him asking me and telling me, do you want to be a coach? It was really cool, man. I thank God for it. Here I am today, still with the team, so still having a chance to compete for a roster spot. So it's pretty cool.
Speaking here with Steve Ishmael, a former Syracuse wide receiver, now with the Indianapolis Colts, and has been with the Indianapolis Colts. Once you got that phone call and you got the opportunity to go over there, just what you can say about the longevity, because you're working at get a roster spot on this team, but the Colts have carried you for a while here on their connected to them in some respect, whether it's practice squad and whatnot. So what does it mean to you that they have continued to believe in you, and as much as you're working for a roster opportunity and trying to get on that 53-man roster, they haven't let go of you? Some guys, they get a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there, a couple days here, a couple days there. In your case, the team that you ended up with, the Colts, has you going into training camp again this year. So they obviously see something in you. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot, man. It's crazy what you said, because the crazy thing is that last year, as I didn't get drafted, as I said, it was a tough process. The pain that I went through, I felt like I wasn't really in it. When I first got there, I wasn't really focused, I was still working, still doing what I was doing, but I wasn't really into it, And the fact that they kept me, they always told me, I talked to the coaches, they told me, like, man, you have it. They still believed in me, and the fact that I'm still on the team right now, it's just, it's just a blessing, man. I feel like they know that I can do it, and I just have to go out there and continue to prove it on a daily basis, which is what I've been doing, just working endlessly.
And you working at Bomarito's, I know some other guys at Syracuse have worked there as well. What can you say about, Bomarito's and what it's done for you, what that training has done for, your career and maybe helping you here in the NFL? Pete Bomarito, I know, has a reputable name, and just what you could say about that training and what it's done.
It's done a lot, man. It's got me a lot faster. With his health, with the physical therapy over there is amazing. Guys like Roberto, Hal, those guys have really been getting me right, keeping me in shape, keeping me, at full 100%, so I could go out there and be able to perform at the best of my ability. So it's been pretty cool, man. I feel like he does a great job of keeping us in shape, keeping us right, keeping our bodies fit for when we go back to camp. So it's been treating me right so far, which is why I've been sticking with it.
And to see what you did while you were at Syracuse, to go on top of this too, I want to get some records here. So as Bomarito has helped you from that to continue to grow and to blossom, who would you, before we get into the records, who would you kind of give some credit to and attribute while you were at Syracuse, who helped you to really hone in on your skills, and who helped you train really the best while you were at Syracuse?
To be honest, man, it has to be Coach Babers, man. Coach Babers, he's a guy that he's a guy that helped me push me to my limits, man. The mindset that he's instilled in us, the players and the team, was amazing, man. Just the dedication and the focus that we have to have as a team, and able to, in order to win and make that bowl game. And I feel like those things that he's taught me, when he came in, has most definitely carried over to the NFL. Just being a professional, and staying on top of your craft, trying to be better every day. Also, Coach Acosta, being at Syracuse, he pushed me to my limits as well. The receiver coach, just having a guy that's willing to stay with that was willing to stay with me late at night, to actually go over film and help coach me on things. It's those two have really had the biggest impacts in my lives over there at Syracuse. And
you brought up Bobby Acosta, the old wide receivers coach over at Syracuse. Just what you could say about, maybe to go a little bit deeper into that, and just how important he was for you, and maybe just the relationship on and off the field, the type of person that he's been to you.
He was great, man. He was amazing. Been an authentic guy ever since the first day I met him, man. No black and white with him. He was straightforward. Everybody. The one thing I loved about Coach Acosta, man, is that he really helped me with character things. Being a Syracuse coach is a big and great accomplishment. But to see how he used to act to people when we used to go out, and stuff like that. Just a respectful and humble guy, man. I feel like he most definitely kept me at that level and helped me to see that, it's better to be respectful and, just to keep on being that humble guy. You know, it's a lot of things that come with, you know, being a head football coach or a football player, you know. So I feel like he's really helped me with my character, which has allowed me to be better on the field as well. You know, it's crazy how crazy it sounds, you know, but I feel like off the field things can most definitely help you on the field. So it's most definitely helped me in both ways.
This coming here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from Steve Ishmael, who played for Syracuse at wide receiver and is now with the Indianapolis Colts, where he's been spending some time from last season into this season as he gets set to work onto that 53-man roster. You came in with Scott Shafe. You came in with a different coaching staff, and then it switched over to Dino Babers. What can you say about the transition? And you know, obviously it's something that happens in the NFL, so I'm sure it helps you to understand the business side of things a little bit better. But, you know, what can you say about coming in under Shafe and then ultimately finishing under Dino Babers, and what the takeaway was from having both of them as your head coach?
It was coming in with Shafe, man. It was great. You know, having somebody that recruited you, you know, that's familiar with you. It was great. You know, he was a guy that, you know, also cared about us off the field as well. You know, getting a chance to be under Coach McDonald's offense and Coach Lester most definitely helped me until right now. You know, Coach Lester ended up doing the huddle offense, you know, so I had to study the playbook and, you know, stuff like that. So it's most definitely helped me in that way. And, you know, as you said, with the business side of football, it was hurtful, you know, when the coaches left, you know, because those are guys who recruited me. But I feel like that most definitely helped me to grow in that way, to understand, you know, that it's a business and, you know, people get fired. You know, so I feel like that most definitely helped me grow and have an understanding for that, which I feel like is most definitely beneficial, you know, in the situation that I'm in right now. But, you know, I feel like I had the best of both worlds, because Coach Babers, you know, he came in with his different style of, you know, coaching, but I felt like it was great because he to me, it's like he sort of mimics like the NFL coaching style. So I feel like that really prepared me for the NFL. You know, he's a guy who works endlessly, you know, in coaching. So he most definitely helped me to be a professional and to focus on my craft and to, you know, be on your P's and Q's with everything. So it was a great mixture, I feel like.
And so you had that opportunity to see, you know, two different coaches and obviously different people underneath those coaches to see all that. I mean, you're a very faith-filled person, you know, very close to God, very much about morals and values and that side of it. Did you get that at Syracuse? Do you feel like Dino and Scott, as well as their staff, kind of helped to build that up in you? Do you feel like there was faith and an appreciation for family while you were at Syracuse?
Most definitely. Coach Shafe preached that so much. You know, his famous thing was everything is overrated except for God, family, and football. You know, he always preached that. You know, and Coach Babers, he was a guy who he lived it. You know, he was a guy, you just could tell by who he was as a person. You know, I have so much respect for Coach Babers, man. You know, he was a guy of integrity, a man of integrity. He was fair, a justifiable guy, you know, a guy that fought for what's right. You know, and I feel like he's more so of a guy that goes into action. He shows a lot of action of him, you know, being a faith-held guy, you know, which is why I got so much respect for him. And, you know, he's also helped me with my faith as well, you know, just little things like always being prepared, you know, being smart with your work ethic, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, I felt like those two coaches have really helped me to become the man that I am today, to be a professional.
And as you look at this professional career, when you left Syracuse, you left it with a lot of positives. You left with more receptions in a single season than any other Syracuse player. You also left with the most career receiving yards in the history of Syracuse football, passing Marvin Harrison, who was also with the Colts and had one of the greatest tandems in NFL history with Peyton Manning and himself. And so to be not only at Syracuse where Marvin Harrison was and beat his record, but to now be with the Colts, knowing that, you know, he played there and had a lot of success there. What does it mean to you to have that connection forever with Marvin Harrison, and at the same time to, you know, be able to know that at Syracuse, not only did you, you know, work to get out there on the field and do what you need to do, but you also had set records that are going to stand, and, you know, even if they get passed someday, you've had the opportunity to make history at the university that decided to give you a chance.
That man, you couldn't say it any better, Dan, man. That meant the world to me. You know, coming in, my goal was to be All-American and to be a first-team All-ACC receiver. And I wanted to help the team get to a bowl game. I didn't achieve that goal. That still pains me to this day. But, I'm just so glad and so blessed, that I was able to leave a mark at Syracuse. Having my picture up on the board, at Syracuse when you're walking in through the football facility as All-American, that's a blessing, man. Those things don't ever go forgotten. As you said, growing up, I love Marvin Harrison, man, and being able to, break the record was a blessing, man. It's still surreal for me to this day, man. But I appreciate it, man, and I'm just so glad that I was able to leave a mark at Syracuse, where I was really appreciated by the fans and everybody, and I'm just, I hope to do the same thing wherever I'm at in the NFL. Currently I'm with the Indianapolis Colts. I hope to do the same thing. The goal is to be a Pro Bowl receiver and to just leave your mark. So it's most definitely a blessed feeling.
To be in the same room, the same building as Marvin Harrison in two different places, what does that do for you? And how can you, how do you that's a special place for you of any NFL team to take you to go where Marvin Harrison went and then to be where he was at Syracuse. What does that do for you to know that, you have that connection and you set that record and you broke that record of Marvin Harrison, and then to go to the Colts knowing how successful he was there as well? What does that do when you walk into the stadium? Do you get that feel at all? Do you have that notion kind of with you that there is that connection between you and him because of Syracuse and because of the Colts now?
Man, to be honest, it just makes me want to keep on going. I don't know how it happened. I felt like all these things were it just happened. It's not like it was intentional. It really just happened, But, if there is a connection some way, man, I wanted to keep on going because, he was a great receiver, and I'm still trying to work to be a great receiver as well, trying to break records and do the things that he did. But it's cool, man. It's most definitely a motivating factor to have a future receiver that was at your college who was successful in the NFL, and play for the same thing, for the same team that you're currently at in the NFL. So I feel like it's most definitely able to accomplish those goals, and I felt like I could do it. So it's a blessing, man, just to know that, you had somebody that's done it before that was at the same team you were at. So it's most definitely a blessing. It just encouraged me to keep on going.
You and I have talked about, and you said it's a blessing, and we've spoken a little bit about it here today, but I want to get into it, a little bit deeper, is your faith, your belief in God. You and I have always bonded on that. You would, give me a hug after conversations, interviews and whatnot in the football wing, and it was always God bless. You were always wearing your cross, if not a couple crosses. Just what you could say about what God has meant in your life and what faith means, because what I, really truly love about you and appreciate about you more than anything else is the fact that you are absolutely unafraid to talk about your faith and what truly matters to you, and you wear that very, very clearly on your chest. And not only do you wear that on your chest, but you share it with other people. So just what you could say about your faith and God and the why it's so important to you.
Man, you couldn't have said any better than, man. Faith is everything to me, man. Just having that relationship with God is everything. I feel like the trials that, I've been going through in life, the pain, the suffering, I feel like it's a real deeper learn. It's a deeper thing that God wants to teach me, that I've been feeling like, I feel like I have to share it out here on this interview today. For anybody that's going through anything, it's for a bigger purpose. I felt like God has most definitely been guiding my steps. Sometimes we don't understand, and a lot of times we question. But I feel like He still got my steps to this day. As you said, me and you, we always talked about it. You remember me talking to you freshman year, and I came in freshman year, had an okay season. The next year was okay, but at the end, I was able to leave my mark. I felt like the reason why I was able to leave my mark was all the experiences that I've went through since freshman year helped me to push me to reach those limits my senior year. So God does things so I don't want to say complicated, but just ways that we don't understand. And, I just thank him for everything because I feel like I'm still growing and I'm still getting stronger to this day. So, I just want everybody to know, just to keep on pushing forward and to keep on moving, that God has a plan for everybody, just to keep on going forward and to keep on pushing. We don't understand, but he has a plan for it. So that's the biggest thing for me, man. Faith is everything. No matter what, just to keep on going and to trust that something's going to happen.
And for you, like you said, you've been through a lot. What are some of those, things that you've gone through adversity-wise that you feel like really taught you the big things about life? What are some of those moments in your life that you really feel like are responsible for helping you to grow so much?
It all had to do. It really all had to do with football. Football really taught me a lot, man. The first one was the connection that I had with Coach Acosta. With the old coaching staff, and they got fired when they left. It was a pain and burden for me, because I came in with those guys, and when they left, I heard it a lot. I didn't understand. I was questioning, but I felt like God had a bigger purpose, and I felt like going through that trial and getting over that helped me to grow as a person, both physically and spiritually. Because then I understood that it's a business in this football league. It's a business, and the second thing that I really say that really pushed me was, this whole entire process of the draft. Being an All-American, being a guy who pushed myself to the limit, had the most successes and not getting a combine invite, not getting drafted, those are things that I question so much. Like, why? How can this happen? Like, and it pained me. It pained me so much, it hurt. But I felt like those pains will definitely help me to grow into the man that I am today, because going through those experiences, I learned that, hey, I just got to push harder. I just got to do better. You can't use excuses. You just got to keep on pushing forward. And I feel like that perseverance is most definitely gonna, get me farther and farther. That's why I keep on working every day and keep on pushing forward. I feel like there's still something at the end of the goal, at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think life always has something. There's always something to fight for. There's always something to get after. Appreciate where you come from. Appreciate where you've been. Appreciate where you're going, and move forward from that. And you got to do that in such a special way at Syracuse. Steve, I talk about the opportunity and just the blessing that God gives every year that I get to talk to guys that are being recruited by Syracuse, by schools all over the country, and I get to talk with people like yourself when you're getting recruited and work to build that relationship, and then if you come to Syracuse or wherever you go, to keep that relationship going and talk with you there, and then after, and maybe the NFL, and then ultimately for the rest of our lives, keeping in touch no matter what you're doing. And so I have to ask you this because it means a lot to me. Just what you could say about our relationship and what we have had, knowing each other and being around each other, because you are one of the people that reminded me every day why I do what I do. When I went through my adversity, when you go through the things that you go through with business and other people in the media, and being one of the people in the media that tells the truth and tries to do things the right way, and just honestly, it's a very lonely world to be in the media, because you get close to the players and the coaches, but the better you do for yourself in the media, the more people in the media hate your guts. So it's just what you could say about our relationship, because you helped me focus even when you didn't know you were helping me focus, and that's always meant a lot to me.
To be honest, Dan, man, hey, I truly appreciate you, man. Our relationship is special, man. As you said, the first day we actually talked on the media, I talked about God, and usually when I used to talk about God on the media, it's sort of like okay, but it was different with you. You had like a genuine connection when I was talking about that, and it's crazy because we're supposed to be talking about football right now, but we're talking about God. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's always been a true and genuine connection with us, man, and I appreciate it. I know that I've been a little distant, been focusing on football a little bit, but every time I got the chance, I always be like, I gotta talk to Dan, man. That's my guy. But it's most definitely a connection that I hope to keep on going. And the fact that you are a truthful person. When you write, you are very truthful, and that's the thing that I love about you. You're very truthful. You try to stay true to the game, despite other people probably might try to try to finesse their way to get a little bit more attention. But the fact that you're true for a man, trust me, man, that's gonna go a long way. And I just hope you never change, man. I hope that you keep on going. And that's one thing I really appreciate about you, man. You always show love from day one, man. And I hope that I'm able to be in a position where I can reciprocate the same. Where I can do the same for you, man. Because you most definitely helped me as well coming in as a freshman in Syracuse, not knowing what to expect, but just to know that I had that support system from the media as well was so cool, man. From the fans, it's most definitely been a confidence booster that I hope that we keep on building on. So, you my guy, man. We're going to keep on building on this, man, and hopefully, just keep on shooting for the top.
And that's the thing, it's people like you, and it gives me chills to have the conversation because it's people like you that keep that always front and center, and that's the beauty of it is I'm not going to the top by myself. I'm going to the top with a good group of people, and you're one of those people, and that's something that I appreciate. Always just keeping in touch, and you're one of the people that I want to see succeed because your success is it's part of a brotherhood, it's part of a family, and it's such an amazing thing to see you working hard and getting after it. And I know I could get one from you, but I have my Steve Ishmael signed card that I got from I think I got it out of a pack. No, actually I bought it. So I was going to say I didn't get it out of a pack. I got it on eBay. I was like, I got to get my Ish card. So, but but I got to tell you this, and this has got to be real deal. Like in my studio and in my office, I'm very proud of it. I have a little Hall of Fame, and wherever you end up, when you get that jersey, I need to have a Steve Ishmael signed, game worn up in the studio because I don't put a lot of people in this studio, but I got to have my brother in the studio. So you got to make that happen for me.
Hey man, I got you, Dan, man. I'm working, man. Hey, we on the live audience right now, man. When I'm sure for it, man, God willingly it happen, man. I got you. Just know I got you, Dan, man. Signed jersey, Darren on the front office, man. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to get to really quick here your brother Kamal, what he's been able to do with the Atlanta Falcons. I want to give him a little shout out here. Just what you could say about having family in the NFL and maybe some advice he's given you.
Oh man, my brother. He's a warrior, man. He's a workaholic. One thing I really learned from him, man, is that he's a person who leads from example, man. He's going on his 8th year in the NFL. He works tremendously hard, man. Fights through pain. I've seen this man suffering, and he's still out there battling. He's most definitely taught me how to be a warrior and the true meaning of no excuses. He's went through a lot of adversity as well. But he always persevered, always. So, man, he's most definitely taught me to be a warrior as well, man. To always fight no matter what. It's funny too because he was an all-conference defensive. He was all-conference defensive player of the year in his conference when his senior at UCF, and he sort of went through the same thing as me. Still didn't get recognized. Still didn't get that combine invite to go out there and compete. Still didn't get that Senior Bowl invite. So. He was pained by it too, but to see the way how he fought through it was just amazing, man. And, for some reason, we always say, man, we don't know why this be happening to our family, man, but we just always persevered through it, man. So he's been a great leader for me, man. Great leader.
And your family in general, just what you could say about it. I know that you have 3 brothers, 1 sister, and obviously you have your parents, and just what you could say about, even outside of that, too, what your family has done for you, what they've done in your journey in Syracuse and, your time in Miami, obviously, and now your journey in the NFL, just what they've done and how they've been, and if you want to shout out anybody specifically or maybe a nugget or 2 of advice that they've given you.
My family has been everything, man. My family's been my backbone through the whole entire process, During the draft, still there hugging me, showing love, it's been everything. I have my best friends, my friends from around my neighborhood, was over there supporting me as well, man. Family is everything. My family's been everything for me, man. They've been religiously, supporting me no matter what, and, anything can happen nowadays. If something was to go bad at football, God forbid, I know that I always have a family back at home who is going to take care of me and who is going to support me no matter what, and whatever route I have to end up going, so that's not the goal though, but I'm just giving a big shout out and a thank you to my family for always loving me unconditionally. My mom, she's and amazing women who supports us, through the thick and thin, through any and everything, and we always appreciate her. And our goal is to make her, live that life that she always really wanted to live, which is why we keep on going hard. And we want my mom and dad to be happy, man. That's what me and my brother Kamal, my other brother Trevor, Andre, that's what we shoot for, to make them happy. And that's what that's our goal.
That coming from Steve Ishmael from Syracuse to the NFL with the Colts right now, getting ready for training camp. What do you want to tell the Colts? What do you want to tell the NFL if they were listening right now in this moment, deciding if they want to bring in another player, another receiver? Why take Steve Ishmael? What do they need to know about you outside of what you're going to show them on the field in training camp? What would you like the NFL to know right now?
I want them to know that, hey, God is first, but football is everything to me. I'm back. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to compete. That I feel like I'm the best. I'm the best at my position. I feel like I can compete with everybody. I feel like I can help the team, whatever team I'm on. If I can help the team in any way possible. That I'm a guy that's gonna give it my all every time, and every time I get out there on the field, I'm gonna give it my all, and I'm gonna compete at a high level to make sure that I do what I gotta do to win, to help the team win. I'm a winner. I love to win, so that's my biggest thing, just to help the team win in every way, whether it's special teams, anything. I'm here to play, and I'm here to to last and to make a mark in the NFL.
Have you gotten any time with former teammate Zaire Franklin with the Colts? Have you gotten to spend any time with him?
Yeah, I got time to spend with Z. I talk to him almost every day. I see him in the locker room. Sometimes, I go by his crib, just say what's up, call him sometimes, see how things going on his end. We always communicate. We always stay in touch, man. He's been a great brother for me since I've been up there in Indy. We always keep each other motivated and keep each other going forward.
That coming from Steve Ishmael. Once again, Steve, as always, I appreciate it. I know that we can continue to have this conversation and talk for hours, man. So I got to get you back on the show. We'll make it happen. I know training camp's coming up shortly here, but let's keep in touch. Let's make sure we chronicle this, and maybe on the video component, maybe we can get you for a little picture-in-picture and do some live stuff with that as well. But love to talk with you soon, and hopefully get to see you soon, and always praying for you and hoping the best for you.
Hey, thanks, Dan, man. Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it. Be back on your show, man. Hey, it's a blessing, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, and thank you for everything. And I'll talk with you soon, brother. God bless, okay?
God bless, Dan, man. Thank you.
All right, take care.
You too.